a
For me, though,
pyramid?
it seems like tier 4, tier 5 is whenever it almost starts to get a little bit more structured and more competitive.
So
It
that would
seems over here
be
from like
like the
me
men's
kind of
version of
playing.
the of league versus non-league would probably start around tier 5, tier 4 where you're at.
I'd say around maybe tier 4 for like almost league versus non-league of like
Gotcha.
structure and like actual like talent to the players.
Gotcha. I hear a little bit of a twang in your accent. Are
Kind of.
you only is your only the places you've lived in your life America and now Lincoln?
Yeah, so I play in Lincoln, but I actually live in Nottingham, like the city of Nottingham. But I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's
So you
not
kind of
crazy.
have the
Hopefully it's not a crazy twang.
no. Do you like Scrapple?
Do I like what?
Scrapple?
So it's Scrapple.
You don't know what Scrapple is? That's like a Pennsylvania thing.
What's
Like
no? It's
some
not a
weird
Pittsburgh thing.
it's definitely a Pennsylvania thing. I work
What is
for
it?
it's like a weird breakfast sausage kind of thing.
Oh, no, I've
Scrapple.
never had this.
I've only ever seen it in Pennsylvania. Um,
Okay.
yeah, no. So as far as the NWSL, is your prior playing experience collegiate soccer?
Yeah, so I played back in America at West Virginia Wesleyan College, which was D2. And then I got the opportunity, basically, I contacted an overseas agency that my coach sent me a link to. Basically, they set up players from America to do a master's degree over in England. So I ended up getting the link, and the best offer was at Nottingham Trent University, and it ended up just working out great. And so I played there for a year. And then after that, after my master's degree, I just decided I wanted to stay over here, and I found some work and found Lincoln.
So you went over there to finish your master's in what field?
So I did a master's of research in exercise physiology.
So is your ultimate goal to be a physio for a team?
Honestly, don't know at the moment. Right now, I basically work alongside physiotherapists. So I work for like a rehab clinic and a performance. My main role was a rehab and fitness specialist.
Gotcha.
But basically, I work between two different companies, which is like a physiotherapist and then a performance center. So it's a bit of both. My ultimate goal, though, this year I'm applying for schools back in America. So
Oh, you're
clearly, I
trying to
just
come
want to keep
back?
going back to school. Yes, and I'm applying for a doctor of physical therapy, basically. So I'd go back to school for 3 years.
Gotcha. How long have you been over there?
I've been over here now for 2 years.
It's 2 years and you've already picked up a little bit of a hint of an accent.
Yep. Oh, of course.
That's
Just a bit.
awesome.
Nothing
So
crazy.
what are the differences that you've noticed in playing over there versus in America?
Over here, I feel like you actually, I feel like it's more like a structured game over here. More so in the fact that I felt in America, everyone's just outrageously like athletic and like always quick with speed, strong with power. And over in America, it was almost more so a kick and run game. Like it wasn't always for like every single team or anything like that, but it seemed like it was more gauged towards like our actual athletic ability. Whereas over here, it's taken down to actual football.
Like
So like,
tactics?
yeah, the tactics, that whole side of always playing to feet, not just booting it up the field for your forward to run onto. It's actual like the tactical side. So I've really enjoyed that side of the game, and I've definitely changed as a center back as myself.
So did you find it easy to make that adjustment?
At first I didn't, because I was always more so the center back that was quick and agile and was able to just kick the ball up the field. So my first kind of month and a half playing for Trent, everyone was just at a different standard that I currently like wasn't at, and I just didn't think about
Above
always.
you?
Not necessarily above me, just like different thought processes like on the field.
Gotcha.
So I just had to change my game pretty fast of the fact that no matter what time, like what play I got the ball or however I got the ball, I needed to see the next move before I even received it. So I think it was more so just getting the tactical side into my head that I'd not always had ingrained.
Gotcha. So over there, you're required to think a couple of steps ahead as opposed to, like you said, play the long ball game.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you feel the difference in the environments are during
I think that
games?
really comes down to like the amount we train. So back in America, I used to train 4 to 5 times a week, have games twice a week, like not really a day off. Like you saw everyone every single day at all times of the day. And then over here, you only get to train twice a day, and then you have a game maybe once or twice a week. So it's almost harder to get really close with like your teammates here than it is back in America. So it's almost harder to keep building up those relationships of being really close to people.
When you say you only train twice a week, is that a restriction that's on the league?
I
Are you
don't
max
think so,
practice
to be
2 a
honest.
week?
No, I don't think it's like back in America where there's actual like restrictions to the
Gotcha.
amount. At least that's what I know of. But I think there's other teams like Wolves, I'm pretty sure, who we played yesterday. They practice more times a week than we do, but can't promise that.
Yeah.
Seems like they just have a bit more resources.
Yeah, they're quite a big club.
Yeah.
So what about the game environment with fans and I know you probably have they don't have restrictions on fans for women's games, do they right now?
They do, depending on your actual like place that you play at. Like yesterday, I think it was only max like 40 tickets that were being sold, whereas like we usually could have like 300 people come to the game for that. So there are restrictions on the amount of people that can play, like that can come and watch. So that's been a bit of a struggle of like not having as many fans as there could be in the stadium. So it's been a bit different in that respect, that I haven't been able to see like the full environment of like English football.
Would you say you get a more concentrated group of fans as far as the more hardcore, being
Yeah,
that
I
you can
feel like
only
you get
have?
some really diehards.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
What do you feel like the difference in the quality of like the pitches and the refereeing and things like that you've experienced over there?
For the quality of the pitches, I just think it depends on the time of year. Like as soon as it gets to that kind of winter season and multiple people are using the pitch for that, the nice thing about Lincoln is we play on a 3G pitch, but the other pitches that are grass, like they just get absolutely battered in the winter because it's just
Yeah.
constant rainfall. And
What
it's
are
just always soggy.
the seasonal differences over there? Is winter still the same time as winter is in America? The
Yeah,
same
so
months?
same thing with all the seasons over here. It's the exact same as back in America. They aren't as like harsh winters or harsh sun like or like hot
Well,
summers
you
or anything
come
like
from
that.
Pittsburgh. You guys have
Yeah.
super harsh winters.
Yeah, we do. We get tons and tons of snow and it's very cold. So over here it's winter's basically nothing for me.
Gotcha. So how I know you mentioned a little bit you got with an agent, but how did you ultimately decide on Lincoln?
Oh, so that I don't actually have an agent over here. That was more so an agency that you just
Yeah.
got to sign with that like took me over to Trent. But weirdly enough, my boyfriend lives in Nottingham, and one of the assistant coaches at Lincoln basically still follows him on Twitter. And I did a podcast about 2 or 3 months ago for a friend back home, and he just ended up seeing the podcast and messaged my boyfriend if he wanted me to come try out.
That's
So it's a
cool.
weird link.
So you haven't felt out of place at all in the league or being a foreigner, I guess?
You always get jokes and stuff like that. Anytime I really sound like an American, everyone makes sure I know it.
What do they do a terrible accent to mock you? How does that play
I
out?
feel like everyone over here always just goes with the Southern accent.
Southern? Okay.
I feel like it's always Southern. That's like the initial one that comes out of everyone's mouth.
What
Just
are
like whenever
the
we imitate English people, we always do the posh accent.
true, probably. What are the insults that you've gotten?
I guess not. I think we're just always extra. Like we're all like over here, we're just explained as very extra people. Like, and that's so true with every single thing. We always do it extra, whether it be like random flavorings that we do of like Doritos chips or like stupid things like that we always have like the extra little bit to it.
That's a good segue into one of the other questions that I wanted to
Yeah.
ask. What have you liked and disliked about the food coming from America to the UK?
So here's my thing. Okay. So I love English foods, like so good. Sunday roast on it, sausage rolls, so good. Okay. All of the things that English food is really good, but it's just so plain with no flavorings. Like a Sunday roast At no point do they flavor it with anything. They just load a ton of gravy on because you have to.
Really?
That's my one thing with like English food is like they just don't have any seasonings or flavorings with it. But they do have a ton of Indian takeaways here.
Yeah.
So you always
So
get different flavors of the
tikka
world.
is that your thing now?
Indian takeaway, yes. Over a Chinese takeaway, yeah.
That's funny. Um, I assume you're probably a little healthier than most Americans that would go to England. Have you had the differences in fast food that are over there?
So we definitely, yeah, I've definitely taken part in that. I was a uni student whenever I came over. So I think that back in America, we definitely have a better Taco Bell.
Wait, they
We
have
have a
Taco
better
Bell over there?
KFC. Yeah, they do.
What do they
I'm
have?
really pumped about that, but it's not as good for some reason. It's just not as good. But over
I wouldn't
here,
imagine they would have Mexican would be a thing over there.
it isn't. It's really depressing. There's like only a
That's such a
few
good
restaurants
cuisine.
that are there. I really miss Mexican food.
Yeah. That's a staple. We actually had tacos last night.
Yeah, no, I think once a week I at least make like fajitas or tacos, like at least once a
Nice.
week for dinner. But you never, like, I never go to a Mexican restaurant here because it's always
What is
overpriced.
really? What
Oh
is
yeah.
the weirdest normalized food that you've eaten over there? That's just common for them.
Ooh, I'm honestly unsure. Like, what do you mean? Like, what type of
Like
what type of
blood
food do you mean?
pudding.
Oh,
Like
that.
to us that's
Oh,
extremely weird, right?
the black pudding thing that
Yeah,
they put
to
with their
us
English
that's like really
breakfast.
weird. Something along
It
those
tastes
lines.
amazing though. Like it
Does
actually
it?
tastes so nice, but it's so gross what it is.
Yeah. I imagine there's a handful of things like that that are over there because their country's a lot older than ours, right? So they
Yes,
probably
they
have a
have like
history of being a little bit more resourceful in their cuisine.
definitely. No, black pudding's definitely there. I do have that now with if I have like an English breakfast.
Is
But I just
English
never like
breakfast?
to. Sorry,
Sorry, go ahead.
I basically just will always eat it, but just really not think about what the black pudding is.
It's blood, right?
Oh yeah, yep,
Pig blood?
fried blood.
Ooh, that sounds so bad, but I'm sure it
Yeah,
tastes
but it
fine.
tastes great.
Yeah. Um, I lost my train of thought what I was gonna say.
You're gonna say English breakfast, something with
Oh
English
yeah,
breakfast?
English breakfast versus a normal American breakfast with hash browns, sausage, bacon, fried egg, toast,
Pancake.
pancakes, waffles.
Yeah, 100%. Every day I would go with an American breakfast.
Really? What is
Yes,
it? Is it the hash browns you miss the most?
it's the hash browns. It's definitely for me. It's the pancakes, and it's the fact
Pancakes?
of putting the maple syrup with the bacon and the pancakes all in one
Making a
meal.
burrito?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all of that. But I will
That
say,
also
having
would tick
baked
your
beans with
Mexican food
breakfast is
box.
unreal. Sorry, say that again.
The making a breakfast burrito out of a pancake and bacon and sausage and maple syrup would also tick the Mexican box.
It is true. Yes.
Um,
The best way to go.
uh, so I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
No, I was gonna say that the one thing I could really get on board with an English breakfast
Oh,
is
the
baked
beans.
beans with it. Oh, so nice.
You like that?
Oh, I
God,
love beans on toast now.
really? Me and my friend, I don't know if you would consider me an Anglophile, if that's the right word.
Okay.
But whenever we first I got into soccer in 2005, 2006,
Yeah.
around that time. And I don't know if you followed the sport at all, but back then you could barely watch any games on TV. You'd get like one or
Yeah.
two a week.
Yeah.
Um, so on the weekends, me and my best friend would make like a full event of it, of being like we
Amazing.
would go get Carling beer, we would make beans on toast or sausage rolls or something. Like
Yeah.
we would try to I don't know, it's silly,
Just
but
mimic yourself as an
we
English
would
person.
yeah, we would. It was that was a fun experience for a couple of years. I mean,
Yeah.
probably once a year I make beans on toast just because I try to remember. I'll think about it, it'll pop in my head, I'll be like, let me see if I like that again or
Yeah.
not, and I never do.
Oh, I'm on board
I
for it.
don't
I
know what
love
it
it.
is. If the toast was hard, maybe, like, if it was, like, crispy,
Okay.
I would probably like the texture more, but it's just slop.
To be fair, whenever I do beans on toast, I can't actually have the beans on the toast. Like the beans have to be on the side because I do hate the soggy bread.
have you felt like the culture of over there is similar enough to America that you've adapted well, or is there things that took you a while to get used to? Obviously, I don't mean
I
like
always say
driving on the other
this.
side of the road.
Yeah, I always say this. It's the fact that we do speak the same language, but we are very different people. And just like almost like just meeting someone. Like I feel like Americans, we're very like, if we meet someone, it's like our basically like our new best friend. Like we can talk to them, like almost make them feel welcome really fast. I felt like over here, as soon as like I got into a team or like I was in school or things like that, it almost takes a few days or weeks for like people to start warming up to you here. Whereas
Really,
like back in America, if like I went to a university back home, I would like be invited like straight away, like, oh, come do this, come do that. Whereas
I
like
could
everyone here
probably
is almost like does everything individual and like you have to work your way into the group.
I could go to the gas station right now and probably bring somebody back to my house to hang out
Exactly.
with.
Yeah. No, that's just like it's just how we are. But like over here, it was definitely a culture shock in that regard of like almost
Also, when's the last time you heard the word gas? You say petro
yeah,
now, right?
it's
Petrol?
petrol. I still don't say
Petrol.
it. I still can't
Really?
say it.
That's awesome. So in terms of how American athletics are, so did you grow up as a youth? I assume playing soccer like a
Yeah,
little
so I
kid.
did. I played soccer since I was like 5. Yeah, as soon as you could like kind of get into that almost like little family sport thing and all the like community based things, I immediately got into soccer. Yeah.
When did you think you would try to make a career out of it?
I didn't really. I actually, in high school, I was really into swimming and I almost went to college for swimming. And then, like, last minute, I was like, don't really want to. So I just joined the soccer route and I ended up just loving it. I did always love soccer that much more, but I just didn't get as many opportunities for universities, I guess, for like kind of scholarships and things like that. But in the end, it kind of just took over that, like, I would rather play soccer than I did
So
swimming. So,
you probably have what we would consider a traditional soccer background in America. What would the equivalent of that in England be?
how do you mean? Like,
So you have youth soccer, maybe middle school soccer, high school soccer, college, and then from
yeah.
there, that's the typical American soccer experience. I feel like.
Yeah.
What would you say for your counterparts or your teammates? What would their experience be? How would
I
you
guess
say?
it all goes through those league systems here. It's like that little bit different. Like you almost don't like I played for like 3 different teams growing up. Like I was always part of like some other part like team. Whereas I feel like almost over here, like you might play for your school team, but like it's not really a thing. So you just play for like
Yeah, I don't
say
hear about high school
city.
sports over there. It's
No,
never a
it's like
thing
it
I've heard
doesn't
about.
exist.
That's weird. I can't
I
imagine not
know.
hating the cities next to me from sports.
Exactly. It was like a whole rivalry.
Yeah. That would be one that I would always feel like would probably England would benefit from. So with your current with the current team that you're at, how do you feel like you fit in as an American joining a group of players who what feels like probably have played together quite a bit?
Yeah, it
How do
seems
you
like most
coming
of them
into
have.
that dynamic? How does that work?
I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I almost bring that slight American positivity into the team of almost like calming people that little bit more and kind of more so being like a bit of a funny personality on the field.
So
Um,
they're all work no play.
oh no, not necessarily. They're just very sarcastic and
That's
almost
also
yeah. They're very sarcastic crowd. So I've always been a sarcastic person, but I feel like I have that maybe a little bit more of like a bubbly or positive personality to the team. So I feel like that's
you
been
feel
fun
like
to
that
kind of just be
helps
a part
you.
of. I think so, yeah. It makes me
Well,
not be overly serious as I'm on the field.
gotcha. So have you enjoyed the NWSL play versus college? You feel like that's a enjoyable league to be in?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, this will be the first time I've ever been a part of it, and I've absolutely loved it. I've loved being a part of the team. It's just been fun, and it's just fun to play again.
Plus you scored as a defender on your debut, right?
It was, I think it was like a second game maybe or something like that. But yes, I did end up scoring, and I need to get another goal soon.
Did you score many goals in America?
Not tons to be honest. There was only like maybe like 2 or 3 a season.
That's pretty good for a defender. I mean, it's not Louis Monsama numbers, but
Yeah, but I mean, I just went up for corners.
yeah. Um, so what is your short-term goal for being over there apart from the Masters? Are you looking to get more physio experience while you're there, looking to get more playing experience while you're there?
Yeah, so I've recently like finished my master's degree and I have gotten a job over here. Work for a performance and health place that is also paired with a physiotherapist, basically.
The difference in the work cultures.
You get a lot more time off here, I will
Really?
say. It's great. You get like 28 days as like a start.
Really? Like
Yes,
vacation?
it's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I
I've been
know,
at my
I
job
couldn't
for
imagine that.
years and I think I'm just now coming up to getting 2 weeks a year off.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very different over here for like the time you have off. So that's been a really pretty nice perk to it.
Are wages comparable? Do you feel like you make a sustainable living wage over there?
Yeah, I feel like once you convert it back to American dollars, it helps because it
Oh,
looks like a
yeah.
small, yeah, it looks like a small amount, like a small number, like in my head over here in
Do
pounds. But
you
then
still
once you
have to
convert it,
convert? Do you still have to convert everything to make it make sense to you while you're over
pretty
there?
much,
You do.
yeah,
What are
just
what
to
are
make it,
the
yeah.
what are the things that the most common things you have to convert all the time besides money?
Mostly like just the stupid things that add up. Like I'll pay for like a coffee over here, and I'll be like, oh, I'm guess that's only like $4 in America, so it's not that expensive.
Yeah,
It's the
that's
dumb
funny.
little things that add up.
As far as culture, I guess we talked about the food,
Yep,
the style of play, the league and the system over there. Are those things that you're gonna miss in a year when you're back in America?
definitely. I will miss the English culture that much, and I'm really if I mean I still have to get into school. But if I end up having to leave in a year, I will really miss everything that I've done over here.
Seriously, I really appreciate your guys' time. This was so much fun. I look forward to this. I only slept 3 hours last night to be able to make sure that I'm up for this.
Happy
I, w-
days.
I work night shift. I work from
Oh my gosh.
5 p.m. to 7 a.m. and then I sleep like 5 hours a night, 5 to 6 hours a night. So on game days or things like that, like my sleep
Yeah,
schedule gets like super thrown off.
absolute
Um,
nightmare. Jeez.
it is, but that's also another thing. Like I wish I was in England so I had a normal sleep schedule. So
Yeah.
for like my life over here, like I've probably 90% of the English games that I've watched in my life start at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
Like
yeah, it's
that's so
crazy.
weird to me. And then Champions League is always like, oh wow, this is at 1:30 in the afternoon. Like it's convenient. But
What a joy.
yeah. But like I said, I really appreciate your guys' time.
It's good to hear other people with my accent.
I don't think I quite have your accent. You sound like an expat who's lived in England for a long time. You have a very, very English twang to some of the stuff you say, but